Whoa, Black Betty. Never mind.
I knew
That
that
song
was
stuck
coming out.
in my head, Lyle. I got that Black Betty song stuck in my head.
That's a cool song. It's a great video if you get to watch, you get a chance to. Welcome everybody to Panfish Nation along with Mark. I'm Lyle. And Mark, fall time of the year is upon us. We
It's
still got
coming,
90.
Lyle.
Yeah, we still got 90-degree weather. We're going to have some more of it. But man, in the 60s this morning for me.
55 degrees here, bud. It's 69 degrees right now, too.
Wow. Well, it's 74 here, but I'll take that over that 87 and 90 that we had a week or so. Yeah, it's just much better, and it's only going to get better from here on out until it gets hard water. And well, you're the only one here that knows anything about that.
Yeah, I'm trying to forget, Lyle. I'm trying to forget, but
You're not doing any hard water fishing now, are you?
I still got all my gear. So if I ever get like the itch to go, I can. But like I said, if I'd be willing. All right, I heard a saying the other day on a podcast, and it says, "Bad people hate bad people hate bad weather." Which means some of the best places in this country to live are the colder climates, if you want to consider that in your plans and stuff. But if I move north or something for whatever reason, there's going to have to be conditions I need to get worked out with the wife, and one of them is going to have to be like a heated side by side for ice fishing.
As long as it don't fall through. I've seen so many of them pictures and videos of people losing their trucks and their side by sides and falling in the ice, just walking. I just can't take that chance. I can't do it. I never forget when Luke Hinges told me him and Jacob and them other guys all got out on the lake and they was driving around a brand new pickup truck, and I'm thinking, oh my God, what fool would do that? But they do it every year.
Yep.
They do it every year, and I've watched a lot of them ice fishing videos, and to tell you the truth, they're very interesting to me. I enjoy watching them. I don't want to do it, but I enjoy watching them. And they pull out some blinds that are like mini houses, and they're
Yep.
just as the accommodations you would have at home, maybe even better. And they cut a hole in the ice, and they got heaters and ovens, and they cook their meals and sleep.
They got pizza ovens in them, Lyle.
I've never seen like it, Mark, but they are a lot farther north than I am. Maybe probably a lot farther north than you.
Way farther north than me.
I don't know how thick that ice gets up. Don't really care because I ain't going to get on it. But them accommodations, I could get into some of that. And we talked about a bunch of us going to a place you had told me about where it's like a bar or restaurant or something.
Yep.
And you can sit there and fish. And
they got holes
that's very tempting.
right next to your bar stool, Lyle.
I'd be my luck. I'd get the bar leg in that damn hole, fall over, and break my arm.
Well, majority of like pan fishing out there. If you're not fishing tip ups for like pike and stuff, every now and then some guys catch walleyes, but it's usually panfish bite that they're chasing, which I think you'd probably like. Once you got over that initial shock of being on the ice, which I'll give it to you, it takes long, but you know what? That's for our winter show, Lyle. This is the fall fishing show today, but
well. Before we get into things, what do you say we welcome everybody to Thin Chat, or do you want to wait a little bit?
I can do that. Let me get them loaded up here. Here we go.
There'll be some more popping in, I'm pretty sure.
Well, we'll say hello to them as they come in. I got the list. The list brought up here. I see 922 Crappie Barbecue in the house. How you doing, bud? There's my buddy Bugman. What's going on? Crappie Day, Darren, channel supporter. What's going on, Crappie Day? How you doing? Thank you for your support. Downtown Ernie Brown. How you doing, Ernie? I see Gene Tillman in the house. What's up, Gene? How you doing? Greg Burgess is here too. You know what, Lyle? On Monday's show at Catfish Weekly, I saw that picture of Joe Buck and his fish.
I like that.
I like that a lot. It was great to see him send a picture in. It made me really happy to put a face with a name and seeing him get out. I know he's had a little bit of health issues. I know he announced it, so hopefully it's not anything he'd be upset that I mentioned. It was great to see him do that. So, Joe Buck, good for you, man. I loved seeing it even more than my own fish up there.
He has been a great channel supporter to me and you and Catfish Weekly, and I don't know how many other channels, but he's almost like your friend because he's there all the time. He's with us every week on all the shows, and proud to have him.
100%.
A lot of others.
Once again, Joe Buck, good job, my friend. Way to go. I see Mike Irvin in the house. How you doing, Mike? I see Mike Sampy. What's up, Mike Sampson? How you doing, bud? Outdoors with Ted Ellenbecker. What's up, Ted? How you doing, sir? There is my buddy Troy from Real and Virtual Custom Outdoors. He's also a channel supporter. We appreciate you. And there's
Yes,
Mr. John Parker from Real Time Catfish. What's going on, John? Got to make sure we give a shout out to Cindy because she's probably watching in the background. Also, a big shout out probably to Betty Jean, who's probably watching us on her way to work, and Brandon, I'm sure, is sitting back in his recliner, probably checking us out too. What's up, my fam?
That is awesome to see all these people in here, and uh, there's a lot of people that watch our show, Mark, that are not in chat. They just watch the show.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to be a subscriber, and that's okay. They got all the rights in the world. We would love to have you be a subscriber, join in chat, and put your thoughts and feelings with the other folks that's in there. That's how we make our decisions on how we do things better, is to try to get intel from the people in chat. If you want to do that, it's great. We're not pushing anybody to do that. We'd love to have more subscribers. We'd love to see you hit the thumbs up if you like what we do. But there's a lot more people watch the show than that's in chat, and we want you all to feel at home when you're watching our show.
Look who's here.
Oh, Chadwick Fields. Chadwick, glad to see you in there tonight, buddy.
What's going on, Chad? Dog and I. A dog Andy outdoors. What's up, Curtis? How you doing, bud? Hi, what's going on?
Did you see? Did you see 922?
I did.
Okay, I didn't remember. He's another guy that is in every week. Love to see him in here, and just great. You don't live that far from me.
No.
No. It's fun to see all these people. Some of the folks that are in chat tonight was in last week, the week before that. Even if we haven't met them, they feel like family. They're here all the time. The conversations that they make, like Jerry Parker. Now, I don't think he's in here yet, but I feel like he will be. He kind of keeps chat going. You know what I mean?
Jerry has a way about him, and he's got a certain frame of mind.
Yeah.
That we're not going to go there. At least not till he gets here. We'll give him some business once he gets here. There's my buddy Danny Stone outdoors. He says 10 minutes.
Danny in here. He's another one. He's here. Hey, he's only 10 minutes late. That's pretty good for Danny. He really is. I got a couple things I want to talk about before we really dive into this. One of the things, I could do that, but most people are not going to like it.
Remind me after the show. I had a little incident on my live stream last Saturday. We'll talk after the show.
Okay, and congratulations on another great flathead.
Thanks again, bud.
Awesome fish, man. I've been going out, and as many of you know, I fish the Niagara River and a couple of little creeks, and I don't know what the name of them are. Don't give a shit. Right outside of my town, so I don't have to drive too far. Some of them are a little further than others, and if I really get serious about it, I'll take a trip over to Stockton Lake or one of those. But I just go out for a few hours. A lot of times, I'm testing new jigs or flies or something that I tied up to see if they work, if they catch fish or not. And just because they don't today doesn't mean they won't the next time or the next season or whatever. But I get to the point where I can't wait to try them. And some of them are this big and some of them are that big. And, I've noticed that it doesn't really make any difference if they're bigger. A bluegill thinks he can eat it. He's going to take it, so, but the little ones are working a little bit better. One of the things, Mark, that I want to talk about tonight a little bit, and it doesn't necessarily pertain to fall time of year, is polarized sunglasses. I've got pair of them, and I've had many pair before these. I think that you get what you pay for, and if you spend a little bit more, you will get a little better quality. Not only that, they'll fit better. You can adjust them more to where they're not making your nose or your ear or something sore. They are a wonderful tool for fishing panfish because a lot of the times you're not casting very far and you can see these fish under the water. But what do you think that I have been seeing the most of this fall, Mark?
Gar.
Yes, sir. 100%. And I know you and I talked about this.
You probably see gar as much as I see big old carp with them polarized sunglasses.
This year, I have seen more gar in smaller holes of water that I fish for panfish than I've ever seen before. There's two places that I go. One's called Big John's Access, and one of them's called Williams Ford. They're probably 15 miles apart on different bodies of water. And I go out there and I'm fishing along and I'm not catching nothing. And pretty soon there's a gar this long. Pretty soon there's two of them. Then there's three of them. And they're swimming around this washout hole that I'm fishing that's always got fish in it. And if there's that many of them that I see, well, what do? You go stand on the bridge and look down in it, and there's more than that.
Oh, man.
So these gar can go in and out of that pool. The water is thin on both sides of it, but they swim in and out of that pool because if the fish are biting, the gar ain't in there. They're just not. But the minute they come into that hole, them fish are gone. I don't know. They hide. They go somewhere. Was it yesterday? I believe it was yesterday morning. I went for a little bit after I was at the doctor. Got upset over there. We're not going to get into that. But I go out to Big John's, and it's right outside of town, just a few miles. And these bluegill are hitting everything I throw out there. It doesn't make any difference. They're just slamming it, but they're small, and they just can't hit it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But it's so much fun. And then finally a great big one hit it and he didn't hook up. And I'm thinking, damn, that's real. And then they stop. And I'm thinking, there they are, two gar. And about that time, another one had some fish on the far side in real skinny water. And the fish was trying to get away, but it's too late. He done got him. That hole I'd never seen a gar in that hole before. Never. But they was in there yesterday morning. Again, it's a hole, and it's the place I told you about where the kids had taken rocks and dammed it up.
Yep.
They can go through there. They can go back and forth through there. The other side's fairly skinny water. It's not so skinny that they can't swim in and out of with no issue. But why is it now? And I've never seen them before. If anybody has any ideas or can explain that to me, I would love to hear the explanation because they've never been in there before. And this has been a tough year in those places to catch fish. And now that they're finally working and I get on some and I got to deal with these damn gar. And they're aggravating as hell. I don't know why when I was a kid, everybody that ever caught a billy gar throwed it up on the bank. That's just the way it was in those days. That's not acceptable now. And I got that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not acceptable. It was in those days. It's just like a lot of other things that was acceptable back in them days. It's not now. But they're a terrible pain in the ass. And my God, if they get on a fly rod, buddy, they can do battle. I'm not kidding you. They can do battle. And if you don't think so, take a fly rod and get you a piece of red material 4 or 5 inches long. And when you see them swimming around, just throw that out there with I say number 2-aught hook on it. You'll see what I'm talking about. They are meant to battle, and they are fun to fool with. But at some point, you either got to get that hook out of them or you got to give it to them. It's your choice on that.
The way I look at it when it comes to stuff like that, usually what comes to mind is snapping turtles. If I got a hook and a snapping turtle, he's probably going back in the water unless it's an easy hook to get out.
He owns that hook, and don't ever bring one in the boat.
There's so many kids out there with steel in their face. It ain't gonna hurt a turtle. I don't care what anybody says. That's the way I look at it.
I get messages in my messenger, and I just wave it to people so they know that I'm acknowledging them. That
There you
if you
go.
ever wonder what that's all about, that's what it's all about. Some special people too.
Nice. Chrissy
Yeah,
Brown says my 8-year-old grandson, for whatever reason, wants to catch a gar. I can
and
understand it.
that's very acceptable, Christy. The only thing I tell you is don't net it. It will destroy a net, and be very careful that it does, because their teeth are just razor sharp, and you do not want them to get a hold of them and give them a bad thing about fishing.
I've never caught a gar. I'd like to catch maybe one, maybe two, and then I think I'd be over. Just like my stint with bowfin. I've never caught a bowfin. They're called dogfish over here.
That's what we call them. I like catching one. I haven't caught one since I was little.
Yeah, and I caught them on some light crappie gear, and it was I'm not gonna lie, it was a fun fight for sure.
You know,
Hi, Lance.
we talk about panfish, but we always get off subject. One of the most fun fish to catch there is a common carp. They fight really hard, and if you get them like on a river with current in it, they know how to use that current. They're big and wide. They are a great fish to fight. They're just a lot of fun.
There's a lot of carp in our river, Lyle. Maybe I should try for one of them one of these days. Maybe next summer. We'll see what happens. But they were spawning. I kid you not, at 3, maybe 4, even 4 weeks while I was out walleye fishing, like in June, like the middle of June to maybe to a week past the end of June into July, and it's incredible how many there are on the edges in the weed pads. In my old boat one time, I was getting to a spot with my trolling motor nice and slow, and I kid you not, I had a grass carp right next to my boat. Must have been a female because there was 2 other carp next to it swimming around it, like swimming around in like circles as she's swimming through, and she had to been 40 inches in length, Lyle.
Oh wow!
That's why I think it was a grass carp. It was huge. I went to grab my net because I wanted to catch the darn thing, and before I could get it, it was gone.
A net full, buddy. I ain't kidding you.
Oh man, I'm telling you, it's the things you see on the river. Those are some of the things that come to mind when somebody mentions like a carp or a gar or whatever. I've never even seen a gar in real life, so I would
Really?
Nope, never have.
You don't have them up there?
Nope, we don't have gar up here.
I'll be darned. Well, there's JG Hill, sir. I hope you're feeling well.
There's the Benoit Fishing Adventures. What's up, Gabby Nelson? How you two doing? There's Fishing with Jeff Beal. What's going on, Jeff? How are you doing? What's going on, Jay Jill? I do hope you're feeling better. Also, Schmieder of the Cedars in the house. What's
Coolest
going
name
on?
on the internet.
What?
One of the coolest names on the internet. It's a great statement by Ted.
Let's see what Ted has to say. Ted says, if your small streams, if your small streams and are tributaries within 50 miles of bigger water, then you have high water that will travel and then hang out in the holes. When the water goes down, at least that's what what we deal with. So he's saying they get caught in those holes after water goes up. So that makes sense.
The water this year has been fairly normal, or what I would call normal. So they're still able to swim up and down, in and out of the holes. But I'm telling you, I am just blown away with you don't need to be a TV star. I'm blown away with the fact that the minute that they come into a hole where you're catching fish, the biting's done till they leave.
Flathead will do that too.
Yes, they will, but you usually don't see them in the middle of the day.
No.
It's not impossible to see them in the middle of the day, but them gar, they don't care. And for the streams that I'm fishing, Mark, I'm talking about gar that's 3.5 foot long. Some of them are not that big. Some of them are 2.5 foot. But the three, that's a big gar, and these are lake sturgeon. I'm sure they're lake sturgeon. They're not. I know they're not alligator. They may be long nose or short nose, but they're gar, and they're they are fun kids. They really are. Light tackle. If you got ultralight or bass gear or something like that, or like I say, a fly rod, they're a handful on fly rod. But if you really want to be successful with them, I would recommend getting you some crimping tools and crimson steel leaders because they are hard on monofilament line. They really are.
Well, I remember seeing a few videos of how they use like shredded line or paracord or whatever to catch them, and that always kind of interests me as well. But I know time and time again, very few people catch them on hooks, at least that I've seen on a lot of the live streams I've watched here on YouTube. So,
Anything they can get their teeth tangled in.
yeah, that's what you need to put on the end of your fly rod, Lyle. Is
I don't want. They wreck stuff, buddy. And then you got to get them off. And yeah,
I might know somebody that can build you a new rod, so I wouldn't worry about it too much.
but I wanted to talk about the gar and how they affect fishing and if gar's what you're after, this is a great time of the year to get them. Myself, it's not. I'm trying to build up bait. Just when I get ready to go fishing, I want to have fish um hey, I want to have bait when I go fishing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to do if you go out and you're saying, well, I'll just go out here and catch me a bunch of shad and I'll be able to go catch some catfish. It doesn't always work that way. So you have to have a backup plan. And my backup plan is bluegill. I'm not that big a deal on chicken. I do have some saved back, but I never plan on using it ever.
I'll use I'll buy some like clearing shrimp at Walmart and throw it in my freezer in the garage, or at least that's the plan going forward because I'm channel cats like that. So that'll be my backup plan. This time of year, shad works good going forward. Actually, in the next month or so, being that Labor Day's coming up. Not this weekend, but the next weekend, the game's going to change for the most part. I'll be using a lot more frozen bait or freshly caught shad out of a cast net, things like that. But I kind of look forward to that. I'll switch over to using spooks, things like that, get that bait up off the ground. Size doesn't matter. I know everybody says big baits equal big fish, but I'm a firm believer that elephants eat peanuts as well.
Right.
It'll work. I've caught really big flatheads on, in a 1-inch square piece of shad belly, and tails. I know you guys are talking about that. So it
Yeah.
just happens. Plus, we'll see. We got a couple more. I'm hoping to get 2 more flathead trips in before I start going out chasing some of the salmon up north. Well,
I hope you get more than that in. And, I'm excited about you going up there and salmon fishing because that's a bucket list trip for me. And I want to see pictures, videos if you can, because I've never done it, only watched it on TV and a very few YouTube videos, not very many.
We'll live stream it when I go.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to be able to do that. I think that you're going to have a wonderful trip, and I really can't wait to see what you bring back because let's face it, salmon's pretty damn good eating.
It is. Even though, a lot of the salmon you catch in the tributaries and stuff at this time of year is end of life stuff. They're what I call, zombies. They're not real chrome all the time. But if you can get a chrome one, you can bring that home and eat it. Not so chrome, meaning it's starting to change color, and you can use that for the smoker, things like that. A lot of guys will just catch the hens and take the eggs out and give the salmon away to people that don't know much better. That happens a lot in the salmon fishing this time of year, but I'm just sorry I didn't get out earlier. There's only so much stuff you can do in a year.
That's right.
I try to get it all in.
Did you know that downtown Ernie Brown is in our chat?
What's going on, Ernie? How you doing, bud?
Isn't that something?
JG Hill says, I have caught flatheads, but don't remember my PB. When I heal up, I'm going to go find some flatheads. There you go.
There you go. He also said, "I want to see you in Mark's boat someday soon." Man after my own heart.
That could happen. That could happen. I'm trying to make that happen, hopefully before it gets real cold, but it's too hot down there. Well, actually, not the last couple of weeks, but I'm sure it'll get warm again. So,
Danny Stone says Jerry Parker was fishing with Richard and I. He took an 8-inch piece of frayed rope and held it in the water. Within minutes, he had a gar on the back. Yeah, yeah, they're not extremely hard to catch. If you get them in something like that, you're better off than trying to hook them, because once that hook gets in their mouth, their teeth run over your line, and it don't take very long before it runs it in too. Good to hear that, Ernie. Good to hear that. Looking forward to seeing you again real soon.
yeah, now back to why I think maybe I got at least 2 more good trips in me is because it starts getting cold at night, starts getting real damp at night, and
Mhm.
I could chase fish during the day and stay warm and dry, and I like that idea, to be honest with you. So,
I understand that completely. I really do. I used to fish nearly year round unless the water was getting hard. I don't do as much of it anymore because, well, I don't have to, and I don't like the cold. I hate the heat, but I don't like the cold. That makes sense.
yep.
Hate the heat. I hate it, but I don't like the cold. I can always put more clothes on to warm up. If you take them off where you ain't got nothing on but your birthday suit and you're still hot, it's hot.
90-degree water doesn't help all too often either.
No, it doesn't. It's hard to catch fish. You got to get deep holes in, and I'm not a deep hole fisherman. So, but right now I'm into catching bluegills. I'm desperately looking for a place to catch bullhead. I cannot find a place around here that's got them, and I know all the lakes has probably got some in it, but it's hard to target them in an impoundment the size of Truman Reservoir, something
It
like
is
that. Yeah,
just this, where I would do. You said bullhead, right, Lyle?
bullhead, yes, sir.
Yeah, find the slowest, stalest water you can. Get you a nice oversized jig head, heavy enough to hit the bottom and stay there, and put a little chunk of shrimp on there. That's the way I know a
Night
lot of guys
crawlers
can
work.
catch them.
I
You know what
I
I mean? Because
really
the worms will get picked up by all the bluegills off your hook and
That's
stuff.
okay, I'll take them too.
Where shrimp, not so much. It love
I,
'em.
I have an idea for bullhead and daytime catfish.
Let's hear it.
I wanna go after daytime flatheads.
Oh, I think
I
you should.
I think it'd
You
be
can do
fun.
that with bluegills too, right?
Yeah, but there's something about bullheads. Flatheads just ate them. So, I want to have a backup plan, you know what I mean? If I got bluegills, what's it gonna hurt to have a couple bullheads, little
Yeah.
ones, about like that.
The bullheads are probably my top 3 under a bobber baits. I like live bullhead, I like white bass, and I like, definitely, I'll say it, besides green sunfish, I guess 4,
Green
largemouth bass.
sunfish are
They're always
very
fun.
hardy.
Largemouth bass are fun under a big float too.
Wish I could use it. It's so unfair that I can't use a bass. Man, I would make a video every week about using bass for bait just to make them bass holes mad. Oh man, that would be so much fun. Oh, there's Air Run. Thank you for joining us.
Aaron's got a
That's
good
a great idea.
tip right here. Aaron says, Lyle, talk to your local bait shop guys. They might point you in the right direction. 100%. Bullhead aren't too sought after of a fish, so they might be more, willing to give you a place to go check out. So,
Mark, we have right outside of town on North 65, probably, I'm going to say a mile or a little more north of me. There's a guy that opened up a bait shop. Really nice, brand new building. Got lots and lots of stuff in it. I don't remember the name of it. I've been in it a couple times, bought some products from him. Very reasonably priced on most all of his stuff. Has live bait and everything. I might try to get him on. the show with us one time. See if he's interested in doing it. I'll stop in and visit with him. He is a big time crappie fisherman, is my understanding. Don't know the guy too well, but they're very friendly and nice and helpful when you go to their store. So, um, local businesses. If you guys are looking for stuff, I know the big box stores, they've got everything. You can order it online. You don't have to go to the store, and they will ship anything to you want. But if you have a local bait shop and they're any good at all, try to do some business with them and support them. That's what keeps them in business. And then when you really need something, you can get it. Just just my thoughts. But yeah, I'll stop in and ask him. Maybe he does know a place I can go around there because we don't have subdivision ponds or little conservation lakes like James has got that I can
Mhm.
go catch them. They're just around here. They're just not here for whatever reason. Now you go to North Missouri. I got friends
You
up
got
there.
no little, like, spillways or creek overflows, things like that, because 'Cause they'll sit up in those holes right underneath the,
If there
um,
was any that I could get to, I'd be on it. I
right under
promise.
one of them drainage tubes, they'll sit up under there as well too if there's a little pool at the bottom of it, so
There's a little creek, probably a couple miles from my house. Um, the guy that his mother lives next door to me was a county deputy sheriff for years and years and years. He got yes, I did. Very excited about that. By the way, Creole's going to be on Catfish Weekly Monday night, so you guys be sure to tune in for that. This little creek out here, the guy that lives, his mother lives next door to me, worked for the county sheriff's department, so I knew he'd know all the little roads. I asked him one day about little places to fish. That little creek probably got some in it, but I went out there one night and caught 5 or 6 bluegill out of it, you know, 3 or 4 inches, 5 inch. And I haven't been back because you got to stand right on the road to fish them, and there's a fence right there goes through it. It's kind of tough to fish, but there's been water in it all year, so there's probably some more fish in it. I probably ought to go out there and save them from whatever's going to happen to them in that little creekway there, and bring them
well,
home.
yeah, you gotta be careful in those situations because 'cause you'll get some driver out there, and for some reason, when they see somebody on the side of the road, that kinda pulls them towards you, and you wanna be sure that they don't
Yeah,
go after
that's
you.
true.
I've gotten
Sure.
pretty close. I've fished a couple of the, creek chub spots that I fish are right up on a road, right over a little spillway like I was talking about, and
Hmm.
I've had some guys come pretty close, and could have
Well,
been
I'm
on
sure.
purpose, could have been by mistake. It's not worth it. You'll find a good spot. Just be careful if you do.
Surely these guys wouldn't run over a old man.
Yeah, they would. They hate us, Lyle.
I guess that's right. But I do a lot of that during the day when most people are at work. At least the people that want to work are working.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
It does.
Well, I have friends in North Missouri that catches a lot of fish, and others that just want to catch a lot of fish, and we talk to them a lot. And someday maybe I'll go up there and catch a lot of fish. There's all kinds of little ponds and stuff around up there that's not down here. And I don't know if it's because this is such a rocky area and that's a big farming community or not. I don't know what the deal is, but they have a lot of ponds and stuff that you have access and more creeks and different things. Just North Missouri is just North Missouri.
Um, Aaron's got a good, that's a good tip right there. He says a lot of those big businesses like Dell and AT&T, and so on have ponds, by their buildings, and they usually have them in it. Yeah, that's 100%. A lot of businesses here, a lot of business, um, I don't know what they're called, like business subdivision type deals out of whatever business areas that they build new. I think they have to have so much green space or so much space for wildlife, and they choose a lot of ponds just for bug control for the most part, so they put a lot of them in there and they stock them, and you can usually do pretty good in those business ponds and stuff for sure.
There's a pond, a couple of ponds around some doctors' offices that we frequent. Now, whether they allow you to fish or not, I don't know. But there's geese and ducks that land in them. I'm supposing they're in there after something to eat, which mallards and Canadians, that would mean bluegill, something like that. So
Hmm.
my theory is, I don't know who to ask. If I get in trouble, I can just, I'm
I
sorry,
just
it's not posted. I thought it was okay.
I didn't know. I'm just an old man now. I've used that excuse a couple times.
I'm going to play that card. The older I get, the more I'm going to use it.
Heck yeah.
And besides
Well,
that, it'd be easy to get to because you don't have to walk very far.
you know what I've learned about like corporate ponds that have a ton of geese on it, Lyle?
What's that?
They're usually loaded up with carp, nothing else.
Then it ate all the good stuff.
I don't
Hey,
know
I'm
why it
I'm
is.
using
I think
carp
it
for
has to
bait.
do with I think those geese like those ponds not only to and ducks like those ponds because of the forage on the bottom of the water because they're not marine creature eating, at least as long as they're not a diver duck, but they eat a lot of seaweed and stuff, and I think that's how you can tell what's in that pond for the most part, if that makes any sense. And this
It
is
does
just
for me.
a thought of mine. Yeah, it's getting cold up here too, Benoit.
Nice.
46.
JG says better to ask for forgiveness than permission. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. I used to be in sales and they would say, you can do this, but you can't do that. If you don't ask, you don't know. So just whatever you got to do to make it happen. And that's how it is. What's Danny got to say here? If you get caught, just go all. I should have might ought to read that before I put it up. That's great advice, Danny. I'll try to keep that in the memory bank.
I'm trying to see if I can make that a sticky or pin that to the top. No, I'm
I,
logged in under the wrong account. Sorry.
oh man. Bugman said someone won that bluegill tourney last year in an industrial park pond. That works too. I just don't have that stuff around here. We do have a motel. Really, I guess it's pretty nice one. I've not been in it, but I know some people have stayed there. Behind it is a big pond right in town. They don't keep it mowed down or nothing, so you got to wade through the chiggers, everything to get to it. And I'm working on trying to find out who actually owns that. I think that I understand they won't let anybody fish in it, but that's a crying shame to have something like that and not let it get used.
Mike Urban kind of confirmed and made me corrected me. He says the retention ponds are for drainage, and they are required to have so many acre feet of water storage to compensate for their buildings. That makes sense.
There you go. We have a retention pond behind my house. It does not hold any water once it goes down. It drains out, goes through a little drain and into the creek that I was telling you about that I stand on the side of the road and catch those fish. Um, it can be full one day, 6 feet of water in it, and within 2 days it's gone.
It's great.
Uh,
Well, there ain't going to be any fish in there.
there's never going to be any fish in there unless they change that. But if they stop it to where it don't run out like that, it's gonna flood more ground around it, and they don't want that. They just want to slow it down before it goes out. Is my understanding how
Yeah,
it works.
that's all they're trying to do. I've had a spot like that. I used to do really well bait fishing and bluegill fishing in. There's a lot of pumpkin seeds and stuff in there. I don't know how they got in there, but once they figured out that water wasn't supposed to be in there, they actually came out and unclogged one of those drainage pipes that come out of there, and now it's dry as heck unless it's rained. So all them fish are gone.
Yep, I got you. With the fall weather changing, um, the fish are going to be feeding up just like all the rest of them. So now is a great from now until hard water is a great time to catch big bluegill, big crappie, all the above, green sunfish. Man, what a great fish to use for bait. They make great live bait for flatheads. They also make great cut bait for if you're using them for anything else. They're very hardy. They're easy to keep alive. You can keep them alive several days and no issues. So um, I like long-eared sunfish, green sunfish. anything that I can catch that swims, that's hand size or smaller, it's over hand size. It's kind of hard for me not to take it home and, you know, harvest it for me.
It depends how bad I want to go fishing, to be
Well,
honest.
or how much bait I got.
Yeah. How much bait I got in the bait tank too. Everything I got in there is kind of small, which is fine. So I got
It is.
that
They make
30.
good bait too.
Yeah, I got that 31 pounder on like a 4-inch bluegill, which works. So those
That was
big,
a great fish, by the way.
oh, thanks. I think the bigger baits, I think they let off more vibration and stuff. They might call in a fish from farther away. Things like that have all to do with it. So
I like you. I like to use them underneath a bobber. Doesn't have to be real deep, and shallow water is your friend. Brush piles, stuff like that. But you got to catch them, and to catch them now's the time. So it's been a rough year for me, but every time I've been going out now, I've been putting bluegill on the line. Top water fly rod for me right now. That's the action. It's not that you can't catch them on something. It seems like you can usually always catch them on worms on a jig under a bob or something like that. But right now, I've been tying up these little swamp spider things like this. That's green, of course.
every time you do that, it looks like you're picking my nose, Lyle, behind you.
I'm I'm sorry.
That's all right.
These here is what I've been catching them on. White has been a really good color. Green has been a good color, and brown for whatever reason. Black's always good. White's always good. Those things there. Now this one, if you can tell how big it is compared to my thumb,
Yeah, let me give you a solo layout here so the people can see that.
I'll put it beside my thumb this way. That is the size bait I'm using right there. It's just about the size of my thumbnail, which is, I'm going to say, 5/8 of an inch from the end of the nail to the top of it.
Mm-hmm.
That baby in the water is gold. I promise you.
I'm
And
surprised you don't catch a lot more bass with that, to be honest with you.
I try not to because I get tired of hearing Josh and Chad on me about catching all them bass, but I can't help it. They're there. They're not very big, but I've been catching some really good rock bass. And if I get one that is big enough to make the Missouri Award, I will. Everybody's going to know about that because I think it has to be 12 inches. And that's a big rock bass. And they got the prettiest red eyes.
They do.
But
They're pretty angry looking fish.
they are. And I actually, what pound test line with that jig? These are flies, JG. These are flies I'm using on a fly rod here. You can tie these on a jig. And the jigs, when I'm jig fishing right now, I probably will go down to a 1/16 ounce. I've been using 1/8 ounce because the current's been so fast. But I will probably go down to a 1/16 or a 1/32 now that the current has slowed down. And again, black and purple, green, white, and even red and black ones. Jigs have been working really well, but right now the bite's top water for me. So that's why I'm using these. But the jigs are always good, and you can tip them if you're not getting bit fast enough, or you don't think you're getting bit fast enough. Tip them with a crappie nibble, or a piece of red worm or nightcrawler or something right on the end of it. If you think you need more action faster, sometimes that will help you a little bit. But right now, top water on the fly rod is what I've been getting all my fish with, and it's fast action. These are tied on a number 10 hook. I tie them anywhere from size 6 to a 14.
Yeah.
It just depends on if I'm getting short strikes all the time, I'll downsize to a smaller hook because they're getting the wrong end of it. They're not getting all of it. And one thing you have to watch about on a fly rod is the line whipping. It will wrap around the shank, the bend of the hook, and when they go to strike it, they don't get hook
And like
because
it'll
the
act like a weight.
line's wrapping around the line on them. You're talking about where you tie them on is basically a 2 pound line. So it'll whip and knot on you. You just have to be careful with it. I know there's some guys that claim they never get line stuff, but
JG, I've used flies and stuff with a spinning rod setup, but I use they sell these clear bobbers that they're called water floats, water
yep.
bobbers, something like that. I can find out for you if you message me. And it's a clear float, and you could tie that jig on a light leader, or not that jig, that fly on a light leader, and use that float, which you fill with as much water as you want it to be heavy, and it's clear. And you can use spinning gear with that. So that works pretty well, JG.
I
So
have guys that talk to me all the time online, send me messages and pictures of fish they caught with just a red and white bobber. And the reason they put it on there is so they can cast it out and they
mhm.
make a leader about this long of 2 or 4 pound test line and just jerk it every once in a while. Not only does the popper on top and these that's what these basically are popper sort of. Um, the bobber will make a noise and attract them, and then they'll come up and they can't get that bobber in the mouth. Bluegill's mouth little bitty, but they'll get to the fly behind you. So that's another. You can. There's a lot of ways to use flies and stuff. If JG, if you need something like that, or you want to try some, just send me a message. We'll make sure
Yeah,
you get to try.
yeah, he's asking about fly rod suggestions as well, Lyle.
I see. I see. Message has just come in. New guest coming up. Catfish Weekly.
Nice. I'm
Yeah,
guessing that Lyle would recommend a number 5 fly rod, right?
yeah.
For
For
panfish? Yeah.
starting out, that's a great size. Fives are pretty universal. You can catch bass on them easy enough. They're easy to cast, and they're lightweight enough that they make bluegill and stuff like that just a living blast. These smaller ones, like 2s and 3s, they're for a little more experienced guys, and the heavier ones, like the 7s or 8s. I wish Matt would want to be outdoors was in here. Matt's a really good fly fisherman. But those 8, 6, 8, 9s, they're a little stiff for catching bluegill and stuff. It takes a little of the fun out. It's not that you can't catch them on them, but I'm working on a 9 weight now, so I'm excited about getting it put together and seeing what we can do with it
You gonna
on
go pike fishing with that, Lyle? You gonna go fishing
channel
for them,
cats.
them snot rockets?
If I get one of them, we're gonna have a ball with it. I don't mind catching them; they just feel funny to me. But
Uh,
the
I
people
still
say
think
that
a
about
blue
blue
cat
cats
is I
too.
still think a blue cat's slimier, but that's me.
Once you get one over 50, you won't care.
This is true. 3 nights fishing. What's up, Don Light? He says, evening, guys. 9-inch for Fish, Ohio for the Rockies for a rock bass. I'm guessing that's what he means. So
Yep, probably so. Probably so. 2 pound for my panfish rod. Yeah, a lot of people use 2 pound. I use 4 because I fish some pretty snaggy stuff. But it doesn't matter 2 or 4. If you get hung up with a jig, you're going to lose some stuff. If you're not losing jigs and flies and hooks with worms, if you're not losing tackle, you're probably not where the fish are going to be because they're going to be in places that you can lose stuff
what
because
if
that's
you
their home.
what if you're losing them in trees, Lyle?
Don't do that.
Okay.
That's reserved for people like me.
I wasn't gonna say it.
I know. I know where you was going, buddy.
That one was for Dockery.
Uh,
Mm.
yeah. Oh man, so much fun. So much fun. But yeah, this is a great time of the year to be out catching all kinds of panfish and stuff. If you like to fish, this is the perfect time.
It
It's
is.
especially in the mornings. The
Yep.
mornings, oh my God, when it's 69 degrees or 68 degrees and you walk outside and you're not sweating, go spend you a couple hours on the water. You will thank me later, I promise. Just a wonderful time of year to go.
And in the upcoming weeks when it gets even cooler during the day, I mean, you can go out there at noon if you got full sun out there to warm the water, warm the flats, and they'll get out in there. It's a lot more comfortable. It's a lot more productive as well too. So
100%. Yeah. Um, find you some structure. I've been fishing around a couple of bridges. They're great structure. They're in the waters that these bridges are over. They're the biggest structure in the water. But there's also piles of rocks that work out really good. Fish like rocks because rocks hold crayfish, and most all of them will eat those. They all have trees and stuff that fall in, and I was out to the Niagara River where I frequent a lot the other day, and I see two big old sycamore trees that probably won't stand another flood. They're in real bad shape. They're already leaning over the water. So probably the next flooding we get, whether it be this fall or next spring, will probably take at least one of those out, if not both of them. Now, if it gets to where it's flooding bad enough to wash that bank, will it wash the trees away? I don't know, because it'll be washing them up against that bridge, which I hate. But every time we get a flood, it changes that area so much. And most of the trees go over them. Very few of them go underneath of it. There's big openings, but when that river floods, most of the trees goes over top of it. But it always washes in new everything, and it washes out all the old stuff. So after a flood, you usually got better fishing for a while. Guys with 4-wheel drives, these kids, they go in there at night and they play, and they make little roads down beside the creek, which I don't mind at all because it makes easy walking for me. I'm okay with all that. They're not destructive. You can see where they've been in there fishing at night. I don't know what they're fishing for, but they build campfires and they have a good time. So these places are wonderful for a lot of different people. Um, and no sea-doos.
you guys touch base on that a little bit this week on Catfish Weekly
A little
about
bit.
they're all going to be put away here pretty soon.
It
So
won't be long. Well, these guys in my area, Mark, they'll put wetsuits on. They'll ride them way up into the cold times.
yeah, it's still not like it is in the summer though. But yeah, we got them.
No, there won't be nearly as many of them. Some of them are nice, but there's a bunch of them that are just. There's nice folks in everything we do. Sea-Doo world is no different. But being a tourist lake and the biggest tourist lake in the entire United States, more people come to Lake Ozark for horsing around than any other place in the U.S., which brings in the good and the bad. Sometimes mostly bad, but
well, the bad ones stick out a lot more than the good people.
that's right. And if they're good to me, I have zero trouble.
If
But
you
if
aren't noticing them, they're being good. That's the way I look
that's
at it.
right. They leave me alone, we get along fine. If they don't, then we got a problem. And I don't mind explaining it to them. That's just me.
I'm excited for fall. Everything except for that pumpkin spice malarkey. I'm not too big of a fan on that. But other
Yeah,
than
me
that,
either. I wonder if you could use that for bait.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Little cinnamon on a little chunk of, you can probably catch carp on a little piece of pumpkin for sure. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Does I almost hate to say this. I don't know if I can make myself say it or not.
Say it, Lyle. Say it.
Does anybody ever tried chicken for bluegill bait?
No.
I I don't know why. I've been thinking about that. I know they waste their time trying to catch catfish with. A lot of people catch them. A lot of people catch great catfish on it. I do not. But I just wonder if a little chunk on a small hook. Chrissy loves pumpkin spice coffee.
So does
A
Sheila, Chrissy.
little bit of a piece of nasty old chicken on a 8 or 10 number 8 or 10 hook under a bobber would catch bluegill. I can't think that it wouldn't. I know who was it? Was it you or Josh that was talking about cutting up hot dogs and using them for.
Yeah, when I was a kid,
Braid.
we used to do that. We used to dice them up into little tiny, tiny cubes, put them on a hook, and they usually work pretty good too for bluegills. So
Bookman
I don't
says,
think
"Too
I've ever
good."
told you this, Lyle. I got a buddy goes by the nickname Crazy Richie. Right? When we were kids, he held the hook right on the top of water where there was a bunch of bluegills, and he spit on that hook while it was in the water. A blue came up, ate the spit, and he caught it with his on the hook.
That's
That's
funny.
probably the craziest thing I've seen as far as
I
bluegill.
would like to see that. So you should have got a video of that.
Mm.
Bookman says only 2 gilly bait, crickets and redworms. I something that I've told on here before, but I like using cricket hooks. And if you don't know what a cricket hook is, they have a really long shank on them. And the reason I like them so well is because you can grab that hook if they're way down in them and get it out without damaging them so bad if you're planning on keeping them alive or releasing them. Check out cricket hooks. Again, you can thank me later because you just take you can take a pair of needle nose or hemostats or whatever you want and grab the shank on that and work that loose and pull that out, and that fish will live. Where I see guys all the time catching fish for bait in these videos, and you can hear when they're pulling stuff in there. And I'm thinking, they didn't have to turn them loose. Them fish are going to die. What the hell are you doing?
Lyle, I
I wish.
need you to read that Danny Stone comment. I got to stop you. You got to read that for me.
Great, Mark got us hooked to it. That is the funniest girl on the internet. I don't care what anybody says.
Mm.
She makes my heart sing whenever I see her hop to it. That's just funny. And I have seen some political posts with her wedged in there that just, oh, damn, they're funny.
JG Hill says gold hooks work without bait, or has worked for me in the past in a pinch. Yep.
I have so many hooks. It's unbelievable. There, I have thousands of all kinds. Everything from 10. I don't never use anything bigger than a 10-aught. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. You're not catching sharks, you're catching catfish. 10-aught is by more than enough to catch any 150 pound catfish you ever want to catch. If it breaks or it bends, it's because you're using cheap stuff to start with. And I've got itty bitty ones, size 18. What I'm doing with them, I have no idea. I can barely see the damn.
I was gonna say I can't tie a 12 on. I ain't touching an 18, Lyle. No.
I really, for panfish, I'm really like 6, 8s, 10s, 12, 14s. 16s are a little small, 18s are too small.
I'm a
I've
4
got
and a 6 guy. That's what I usually use.
I've got some 28s, Mark.
Oh my goodness.
I can never tie a fly on them. I'm not sure I can get it mounted in my fly tying vise, but I have another use for them. I'll explain it later.
All right.
But yeah, I and you and I've talked at night late when you're up fooling around, either fishing or just got up to see who's online, and I'll
Mhm.
be tying jigs or flies late at night. Sometimes not as late here lately though. I've been going to bed a little earlier, but some nights at 3:30 in the morning, I'm just sitting here trying to figure out something that nobody else has made, and I'll make 3 or 4 of them and try them. If they're no good, they end up in the trash can. But if they're buggy looking, bluegill will bite them.
No, yeah.
Thank you, Joe Buck. Appreciate that so very much.
Have a good night, buddy.
So what else you got, Mark?
That's pretty much it. I mean, just, end of the season, summer gear is going to start going on sale. If you're looking for something, check
Get
the
your
sale
credit card
papers.
out, Mark, and I'll help you spend your money.
Exactly, that stuff will happen. You can always stock up on stuff for the next year. A lot of times, hooks don't go bad, bobbers don't go bad, stuff
Nope.
like that'll come in handy next year. You can usually get a good deal of clearance on whatever's left. So a lot of places that I usually frequent, like I have a diesel truck, so I need to go to Farm and Fleet to pick up reasonably priced DEF fluid, which they have the best price there. I'll usually swing by the fishing department, and they'll have their clearance section, and that's where they're moving a lot of stuff. And you can find some pretty good deals there. So I'd highly recommend you do stuff like that. Dress for the weather. Weather is going to change. It's going to get cold. If you're looking for worms, you got leaves on the ground in the upcoming weeks. There's going to be worms under those leaves, things like that. Fall fishing at its best.
Yep, that's exactly right. This is one of the best times of year to catch fish. I don't care what anybody says. It's a great time. I think Jerry Parker, Danny Stone, these bank fishing guys, they love this time of year because they're going to be fishing deep water, but them fish are liable to be right up next to their feet on that bank. Because they're going to be up in there looking for them bait fish. And that when it starts cooling off, they come up shallow because it's warmer water. That's where they want to be. Black Panda, where are you guys from? Mark is from near Chicago, Illinois, and I am in southwest Missouri. And the people in chat are from all over. But welcome to the show. Catalpa trees, look for the worms. Used to have one in a place we had. And in 2 or 3 days, them catalpa worms can move in and they'll eat every leaf off the tree and leave you nothing but some stubs. And they have big, fat, juicy, slimy, nasty things. They'll catch channel cat. They sure will.
Never seen one of them either, being a Yankee.
They're interesting. Have you ever seen a tomato worm?
I have. Those I've seen.
They remind you a lot of that. And I've tried and caught fish on catalpa worms, but never on tomato worm. Don't understand that, but I never have. So,
JG, I used to like you, buddy.
What? I must have missed. Oh,
been hanging around Chad too much.
That's kind of funny. I have it playing on my TV, but not listening to it, of course. But I like politics. I cannot lie. You can freeze catalpa worms in cornmeal. Did not know that, Danny. Is bass fishing harder than saltwater? I don't think so. Do you, Mark?
No, bass are easy.
I think they're easy too.
Bass are easy. Lyle, you got anything else for us, bud?
No, I just want to remind everybody to please tune in and watch Chad and the guys over on the bait shop tomorrow night at 7:00. And then Friday night, there'll be Danny and Jody will have their shows on. I don't know what's going on this weekend. I think some kind of tournament or something.
I think Brian B's having a family feud or a Wheel of Fortune tournament or something coming up.
Yeah.
That might be this weekend. Check out
I
his
don't
channel.
know. I don't never hear about that stuff for some reason anymore. I just don't. And maybe it's because it don't make sense to me. But they have a lot of fun doing those things. So if you're interested in that, I'm sure it'll be entertaining. But let's face it, this weekend there'll be a whole bunch of videos out and people going live, and you can get all the fishing in you want to see. Then Monday night, you can watch Catfish Weekly. We're going to have Creole catfishing on. It's going to be a blast.
I'm going to try and get out and do some flathead fishing. Hopefully this weekend. We don't know yet. We'll see what happens. Weather and family stuff going on. So make sure you're subbed and you got the bell notification out for my channel, and you get notification then. So
absolutely the same with us. So if you haven't hit the thumbs up, please do on your way out. If you care to, go ahead and subscribe to Panfish Nation, and you can join the membership down below if you care to. We'd love to have you in there as part of that. Some giveaways coming up in the near future, so be sure to be ready. Thanks, everybody, for watching. See you next Wednesday night.
bye, everybody.